Now, I have already driven the G30 5 Series. In fact, I think I was the first Malaysian who reviewed this car when it was launched. What I have here is the 5 Series M Sport with a lot of M Sport body kits, even 20-inch rims, a blacked out kidney grille, stickers on the side, carbon fiber trims in front, carbon fiber trims at the back, and this is only 10,000 ringgit more than the usual one. What I want to talk about today, as you can see, there's a 6 Series on the right side. That's my car. This one is my test car. What I want to talk about today is the leap that BMW has done over one product generation. So the 5 Series and the current 7 Series, right, belongs to the new generation of BMWs where they have improved infotainment, technology, interior build quality, and key of which is interior build quality, because currently in Malaysia we don't have the X3 yet, we don't have the X2 yet, the new 3 Series is nowhere to be seen yet. So the 5 Series and 7 Series both belong to the current new generation BMWs, and arguably I can say that currently this is the worst of new BMW interiors because there's only the 7 and the 5, whereas the 6 Series was the best previous generation BMW interior. This one has that because when the 6 Series debuted, it even has a better interior quality than the 7 Series of that generation. So let's go through these two cars and let me show you what are the differences and improvements that BMW has made. Now, dirty. Now, the first thing, I'm in the 6 Series now, alright? So back then when this car was launched, every single media all over the world was like, wow, BMW has greatly improved the interior quality of their cars, because the previous generations, right, if you talk about the F30, no, F30 was later than this. This car debuted in 2011. Okay, they launched the Cabrio first, which is this one, and then the Coupe, and then the 4-door Grand Coupe. So when the 6 Series debuted, it is sort of the last car that came out from the previous generation of BMWs. Okay, the F01 7 Series and then the F10 5 Series. Okay, so the F10 and this guy here, and this is called the F13 or something. Never mind. And the F01 7 Series, all of them sit on a similar platform. Okay, this car, they have improved the quality, but I'm going to go through that later. What I want to show you first is this. If you bought a 6 Series back in 2011, the previous generation BMWs, you get this key, this guy here. Okay, it's exactly the same as the ones in the 3 Series, except that the 3 Series, the buttons are not anodized, not anodized, satin chrome finished. That's about it. You get this. This is the best key that you can get. But if you were to compare this against the new 5 Series, the 5 Series and the 7 Series are both new cars from the new generation of BMWs that has already arrived in Malaysia. We haven't got the X3 yet. X3 is coming next year, maybe mid next year. I'm not so sure about the X3, but I'm very sure in the next generation of BMWs, the premium range, which includes the X5, the 6 Series, 5 Series, 7 Series, the 8 Series even, all these. This is the key that you get, the display key. And it is absolutely beautiful. This is industry leading, I would say, because I believe a lot of car makers will be following BMW's lead into this. As we know, BMW, over the past 10-15 years, BMW has debuted the most in-car technology. They lead the way. They lead way more things than Mercedes did in the past 15 years. They were the first one who came out with an integrated infotainment system with the car, which called iDrive, right? They came out with that in the E65 series, if I'm not wrong, 2005, where you have a dial, a wheel that controls all the infotainment stuff. They were the first one who put a screen standing on top. Now everybody is following it. They were the first ones who have not invent, but in terms of putting in brake energy recuperation in almost all of their cars, you lift the throttle and then it starts generating power, and then that power is used on your air conditioning, on your radio and all that when you come to a stoplight and the engine cuts off. Okay, and in terms of heads-up display as well, they were the first. There were a lot of things that BMW debuted over the course. So this guy here is amazing. I mean, it looks amazing. It doesn't have a very fast processor when it comes to graphics. Okay, why? Because you need it to be low power. It cannot consume too much power. If not, you'll just run out of juice all the time. So this one allows you to set timing, to let your car start, let the air conditioning running, and even when you park in tight spaces, you can come out from your car, use this thing to move the car in and all that. It's fantastic. And I think holding this on your hand, this is just the most glamorous key there is now. Yeah, so these are the things that we first go through, and then now we're going to go through the interior. Now, this is the 6 Series' dashboard, okay, and a lot of people say that, wow, it is the best BMW back then, okay, 2011 when it debuted. Everybody says that this is the best interior that BMW has ever built, because if you look around here, this entire panel is actually leather wrap. This part is leather wrap as well. This part is leather wrap. This part is leather wrap. Even this part is leather wrap. Even all the way until here, all of it is leather wrap. Okay, even the hood that covers the speedo and all that. But if you pay attention to the lines that they run through, it is not exactly the best stitching, I would say. If you compare this to a Lexus, I would say yes, it's nice, it's finished in leather, but in terms of the fit and finish and all that, right, I just find that it's good. Yes, I'm happy, but it's not perfect, it's not seamless, and there are little bits of all this. You see this part where this metal trim sort of sits 1 mm apart from this, and then you have another panel here for the air conditioning, and then this panel sort of, you see all these lines that doesn't blend in, even this part as well. So this is the previous generation BMW interior, and then you can see here, yes, this is a wooden inlay, a nice wood inlay, but then over here they need another panel to sit here to conjoin these two parts together, and then there's another part up here, another part up here. It's basically made up of many parts. Even this one, I have no idea why this is the way it is. The way it is sits over here like a bulge. Okay, everything is solid. I would say everything is very solid. The fit and finish is excellent, but it's just the ideology behind, the understanding and the ideology of how the construction of the dashboard should be. If you hop up to a current generation X540i, you will roughly see the same thing, except that it won't be leather clad all over the car, because the 6 Series back then in Malaysia was a 800,000 ringgit car, or 700 something. Okay, anyway, the thing is, it was made up with many parts from the dashboard. Okay, so the current X540i, you can see that as well. All right, and yeah, that's the previous interior, and then the steering wheel and all that. I know BMW did not make a lot of changes, but what I can see is that they change a lot in terms of how it is constructed and the materials that are used. Okay, in this previous generation, you have the shift control. Oh, BMW was also the first one to make these electronic shifters, where you just push a little bit and then another one with haptic feedback, and then you're in gear and then it pops back and all that. If you put it in manual, you push it to the left side in manual, and then after you change your drive modes to comfort, which will force it to come back to automatic, this thing will come back by itself. It will move back by itself. These are all the things that BMW has invented and has done, and has the industry is following now. All right, the iDrive controller. This is the previous generation without the handwriting on top of that big dial. Okay, this is the previous gen. The switch gears. I like BMW switch gears because they are silent. Okay, maybe this is a personal preference. And the buttons, they feel good when you push them. This is a BMW interior button, so I like it that way, and the new car seems to be like that as well. But there's a lot of improvement that has been done over one product generation. Okay, and this one is the pre-facelift 6 Series, so you have sort of like that Optitron meter, but you can see where this is coming. The back part is mostly LCD, and then you have all these physical things on top, overlaid on top. There are new generation Speedo. They have an LCD, but they have just a metal rim that runs across, and roughly that's about it. If I start the car, you can see all this come on, and from here you can see that this bottom half is actually digital. This entire panel is digital, so it's sort of, they already started blending digital and analog in the previous generation cars. Okay, now it's daytime, so the lights are white in color, the fonts are white in color, but as you pass an underpass, the moment the light detector detects that it's dark, very quickly it will switch to red, and then when you go past the underpass, it will come back to white. Super cool. Okay, and I can see the screens are not very high resolution because this is back in 2011. Okay, this iDrive screen as well, for me, is high res enough when I compare this to my Audi, but after I set into the new 5 Series and I come back here, oh man, I just felt that how I wish I have that new iDrive. That touchscreen iDrive is fantastic. Okay, and in terms of infotainment, BMW, they were the first one who developed this, and then they went crazy with it. They have concierge service, the only premium car maker with concierge service. Okay, and if you are in any BMW right now, be it a 1 Series to a 7 Series, if you met an accident, your car will make a phone call and check whether you're alright, and then get an ambulance to you and things like that. It's again only BMW. Alright, and the concierge service is fantastic. I have a video about it earlier on where I just press the button, a lady starts talking to me. She's like a real life Siri, and then she will ask me what I want. I say, can you guide me to the nearest Arabic restaurant, or Chinese restaurant, or or Japanese restaurant, or whatever you want to go, whatever basically that she's able to quickly Google, find it, look at the ratings, and then set it into your GPS. Yeah, that is BMW concierge service, which comes with every single BMW for first year subscription, and it's not super expensive, but it's super useful. All right, so all these are there. I mean, this previous generation, I mean, it has Bluetooth, it has a hard disk drive that I can slot in a thumb drive and load music into it, things like that, and you can share your phone's online connection to it so that you can do tethering and all that. So yeah, this is the previous generation interior, and over here we have this one. BMW was kind of late to have that adaptive button. In Audis, when they debuted this dynamic drive thingy back in 2008, they already have sport, comfort, auto. Auto means adaptive. Okay, BMW doesn't have that until the 7 Series. So previously you have comfort, and then you press all the way comfort, so you will go into comfort mode, everything will be toned down and all that, and then you can press up one time to be normal. Normal means normal. Sport, when you go into sport, your car basically operates one gear lower, sharper throttle response, sharper everything, heavier everything. And then when you go up Sport Plus, your traction control comes into a stage whereby it allows you some slip. It lets you have a little bit of fun, throw the tail out before you go into trouble. Then only the traction control will come in and save you, and you actually operate in 2 gears lower, and everything is just on its most sporty setting. Okay, I would say it's suitable for track, not for road. Okay, so this is the previous generation BMW. Let us hop into the new one over there. Alright, now I'm in the new 5 Series. Start the car. Yep. So there we go. this is the new BMW interior, and as I said again, it debuted in the 7 Series and this is the 5 Series. It might not look like there is a huge difference, but in terms of fit and finish, I wouldn't say in terms of material, because in terms of material, it was affected by how locally they spec the car and all that. And if you're comparing to the class, in terms of material used, whether it's premium and all that, I would say the Volvo S90 has a much premium interior than this. Even the leather that was used is of a different grade. This is what we call the Dakota leather, which is the roughest type that they have. It's not the most premium leather that BMW has, but the Volvo S90 has Napa leather, super small, super soft, super smooth, and very, very comfortable interior. But that's not the point. I'm not comparing these two cars now. I am comparing between the old generation BMW over there and the best of the old generation BMW over there in terms of interior, and the worst because currently we only have the 7 and the 5, okay, of the current generation, and this new interior is solid, okay. I would say fit and finish wise, it matches up to what Audi has to offer, and in terms of the ideology, how they design it, there is a lot of changes. Now let's go through the dashboard first. Remember when I showed you just now on the 6 Series, there is a lot of different parts that makes up the entire interior in terms of the console and all that. What you can see now is that this entire top part is one single piece. If you want to compare this, hop up to an X5, which is made up of many different pieces. Why interiors are always better to be made in one piece? Because after 3 years, 4 years under the sun and all that, they start making the kind of creaking sound if it was made up of many different pieces. Okay, this is just one piece across the top. And then over here, the inlay, this inlay is beautiful. Most cars, right, they have a 2D inlay, which is just like that. This one sort of 2D is way and went up almost 3D. So I really like this inlay. Of course, it's aluminium and it has patterns. I can feel the pattern even. And at night, when you have the ambient lighting running across inside here, because of this pattern, it sort of emanates instead of reflects the ambient lighting. Okay, I really like that. Now you might feel that this interior doesn't look as flashy or as glamorous as the ones in the E-Class. I totally agree with you, because the E-Class cabin just feels beautiful and luxurious. Okay, this one you really need to look at the details, because if you just glance across it, it doesn't look any different from the current generation of BMWs until maybe this video, because I want you to go through it and see how it's done. First of all, this part that has the air conditioning panel, if you look here, it blends in instead of stopping here and then you have another piece to blend in. This guy here sort of curves in to the speedo. In the 7 Series, this effect is even more amazing. Why? Because what we have here is a gloss black plastic. In the 7 Series, it's actually wood. So the wood panel sort of curves in and then blends into the speedo, which I think it looks amazing. It's just beautiful in terms of the way they finish it. Okay, and this speedo cluster, this part here, this metal rim, I can actually touch the metal rim. See, I can make it. Can you hear it? I can actually touch it, and then behind it is the LCD screen. And this is not the type of LCD screen where you sort of press and then they have that thing. This is hard screen, and then it looks really good. And then as I change between, this is currently normal, as I change to sport, wow, okay, eco, and the graphics are so seamless. I wish Android is as smooth in terms of graphic transition. I don't know what kind of graphics processor they're putting it into this car, but it is super nice. It is just seamless, and I really like it. All right, in terms of the buttons over here, there is a theme that BMW is doing that blends in between physical, analog and digital. Why I say that? Previously you have actual buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but now look at the screen up here. Look as my finger runs across it. Look at that. It is touch sensitive, all right? And if I push it, I'll be able to push it in as well, because it is also an actual button that I can push. But what makes this interesting is that when I push the button, the entire thing pushes in. How it knows I'm pushing 5 instead of 4, that is the touch sensitive part that makes up. So this is quite, I mean, I would say it's quite nice in terms of its presentation and how they design it. Same goes the air conditioning panel, but this one, I cannot push it in, I can only touch it. See? And as I touch it, a little indicator comes on as if I'm pushing a button. So I really like this kind of presentation. This means attention to detail, how the digital screens interact with me. And as you can see, the screen inside here is higher resolution than that iDrive screen in my 6 Series. Okay, so this is what BMW has done for its new interior. Greatly improved. And look at this beautiful gear lever. I think it's fantastic to hold, to press, to use. And I've said it in the previous video, in my Volvo video, I said that there are 2 focal points as you come into a car. The first one is the steering wheel. This is your first focal point as you step into the driver's seat when you test drive a car. The second one would be the gear lever. Okay, these 2 things are always the first 2 focal points that we focus on as we step into a car. So having them looking really attractive helps a lot. And I think this guy here looks brilliant, but the one in the Volvo, the crystal, Orofor crystal, that is superb. You're holding an entire piece of crystal in your hands. So this is the new generation iDrive with a writing pad up here, so you can quickly write A, B, C to jump through names instead of just scrolling all the way. Okay, another thing is this car has gesture controls, so you can do this. Oh, okay, it's already silent, so I have to do this to increase the volume, or I can do this back. But what I noticed, right, whether it works or not, in other vicinity, yeah, it should always be here because I think the sensors are here. Now you might be thinking, why do you need that? Since you have a volume button over here, you have another volume button over here, and you have that. That is a first step. When you enable this, when you have a sensor that can detect 3D, all right, lateral and what do you call that? Whatever. Okay. You can have more functions being input, okay? Because when you're driving, a phone call comes in, you look at here who's calling, and then you can just swipe to reject the call, and then or you just point to accept the call and things like that. Okay, so it detects my gesture just now, but I can customize gestures and all that. Another thing, this is touchscreen now. Okay, I really like BMW that they give you a touchscreen, but they also remain the dial, because as a driver, as you're driving, it's always better to have a physical dial that controls all this. Okay, and their touchscreen, the graphics are so smooth, the refresh rates are fantastic, and it almost feels like gliding your finger across an iPhone, a gigantic iPhone. So I really like what BMW has done with iDrive. What do I not like in this new interior? Maybe the door lock and unlock button. It was here. One is enough, but now they have 2, each on the sides of the doors. So maybe that's all right. This is some, you can. This is what they're intelligent safety buttons. So you press this, everything, the sensors and all that, everything will be going on. Yeah. So that's just it. I don't know why they put it there. Anyway, yep. So this is what I want to tell today. They progress from this to this. Yep. And I think this is great progression. All right. So yeah, that's this video, and I'm gonna go. Of course, I'll do the normal review on this car, which I've done briefly previously, but then now this one I have more time to go through everything, and this one is more tutted up. All right, guys, I noticed one thing. My video views are a lot higher recently, but you guys don't subscribe. Come on lah, seriously. You like watching all this, right? Imagine the time and effort that we spend doing all this thing. The least you can do is subscribe and maybe go to our Facebook, give us a like and something like that. That would greatly help. Okay? Cheers.